Morning, everyone. That's Praying for Insanity. Hope everybody's staying happy, and as promised, I am going to talk about my biological father, or what I like to say, dad number two, because I do call both of them dad, and when I'm talking to like my friends or even my husband, they're like, who are you talking about? But now pretty much when most people that know me, when I am talking about them, they know them as two separate differently. They act totally different, and they're two completely different people. So pretty much they know who I'm talking about when I say I did this or I did that, or with whom or whoever. Anyhow, my dad's name is David Marks, and that's what I was born, Tammy Marks. And he and my mom were both really young when they had me. My mom was actually 15 when she got pregnant and had me when she just turned 16. She turned 16 in September and had me in December. Now, I wasn't due until February. I wasn't crazy early, but I was early, and I was born in December 26th, day after Christmas. That's kind of a crappy way to end your Christmas, isn't it? Anyhow, I have two younger sisters, actually 3 younger sisters, and 1 brother from my dad, my biological father. And we did not grow up together. I did go to school with my sister Shannon, and we accepted each other for who we were and everything, but we really didn't hang out, and it wasn't like I was raised with them as a family. As a family, I was raised with 1 sister, and so forever it was I have a sister. Now, I tried to meet my dad when I was 16, and that intro did not go very well because I just kind of popped up, and my brother answered the door at that time, and he and my other siblings kind of didn't know about me, and if they did, it might have been it would have been my older, it would have been Shannon, the one that's just 1 year younger than I am. She knew probably, but the younger kids didn't, and I kind of knocked on the door one day, and my brother answered the door, and I asked for my dad, and my brother's name is David, just like my dad. So he was kind of confused, I was kind of confused, and needless to say, that didn't go well. And I didn't really start talking to my father until I was 27. And at 27 years old till about 31, it was kind of hit and miss. I would talk to him and not talk to him. I had mixed feelings on his reasonings for signing the rights over for letting somebody else adopt me, his reasonings for staying out of my life, blase, just stuff that you grow up and learn to understand once you've kind of put yourself in other people's shoes. Like I put myself in my mother's shoes, and I put myself in everybody's shoes, because that's the type of person I am. I don't like to try and judge people unless I'm kind of like trying to put myself there, and not always did I do that. God, no. You have to learn to grow up and do that kind of stuff, and thank God that I know several people that still are even older than I am, and they still have such a childish behavior in it. It's actually kind of saddening, if anything. But anyway, back to my dad. Like I said, their last name is Marks. My grandma Maria and my grandpa Burl, they are his parents, and I don't honestly know how many siblings they have. I just know that they're my grandparents. My grandmother did pass away a few years ago, and my grandpa is still alive and still lives in the same exact house that I remember visiting them at, and everything. And like I said, he's still there. And then my dad lives right close. He lives catty corner across the street in the town that I was actually raised in Ottumwa. It's really weird that the town is not even that big, but we really didn't have a whole lot of interaction as I was growing up, even though I did grow up in that town. Just kind of a different situation. And now, when I was 27 years old, I was married to my second husband, and he had already met my dad Tim, and I had walked up to my real dad in a station, and it was the day that the gentleman passed away that I was named after. And so he actually happened to be a best friend of my mother and my father, I guess, when they were younger, and his name was Timothy Allen. So this gentleman had passed away when they were young, right before I was born. And so I'm named after him. Tammy Lynn is what they agreed on, because that was the closest to his name, Timothy Allen. My dad, I think, my mom tells me, wanted to name me Tammy Alice. Nothing against the name Alice, but I like Tammy Lynn. I'm very happy with Tammy Lynn. So thank you guys for agreeing on Tammy Lynn. Anyway, he is my crazy side. And I realized that since I was 27, we have a blast together. Not that I don't have a blast with my mom and dad, but my real dad, he is just, I see where I get my crazy side, my adventurous side, my exciting side. I'm constantly wanting to do things, and he is now a truck driver, and so he gets to see a lot of stuff, and so I think that's, again, where I get wanting to travel and stuff. It was just really neat. And I kind of got bummed out not being raised by him as when I got older, and I was like, wow, I could have been doing this the whole time I was growing up and stuff. But you know what? I don't regret anything. I don't regret how anything turned out, because everything that happened and the way everything turned out happened to turn me into the person that I am, and all, you know, and I'm pretty happy with the kind of person that I turned in. I am not perfect by any means. Matter of fact, I was just, you know, messed up in my own head with my own personal marriage, and one of the reasons why I took off on this trip, which they are still happening, whether I am here nor there or whatever. But my real dad is the one, like concerts and car races, and he used to race when he was younger, and he doesn't race anymore. But I did get to experience going to like the NASCAR, one of the NASCAR races, and him getting in a simulating machine. And it was really kind of cool, and I'm older, you know, 40 years old, and at that time, and I was thinking, oh, this is my dad, you know, and he's doing this, and there was this time that you had to be up on this board, and if you beat it, then you didn't have to pay for your ride in the simulator, or I think the guy bet my dad or something. Anyhow, my dad gets in there, and the gentleman was kind of like trying to give my dad pointers or something, and it was so funny because it was going in one ear and out the other, because my dad totally knew what he was doing, and he totally stomped the score. I was just really excited about that, kind of like kiddish excited about that. He eventually did get beat towards the end of the racing day or event, because it was, well, a younger kid had beat him. And it was so funny because my dad is competitive, very competitive, and as I am too, you know. And he said the reason why that the kid won was because he plays video games, and that's how those people won. And it was funny, his reaction. He did really well, and he's not a gamer. He was really a racer, and so it's really fun. And those are one of the things that I really enjoy doing. And then concerts. We like to do music concerts. He is infatuated with music, and has a whole room in his house that is just like 70s style. And I swear that I was born just a little too late, because I think I should have been raised in the 60s and 70s, because I just love their music. I love the style. I've always been, and today I'm black, gray, and I guess I got a bruise. But anyway, I usually wear bright colors, and people know me for that. And my dad does too. It's crazy. He wears tie-dye and colors, and I just can see myself. I can see myself in him, or him in me, and it's kind of cool when you do that, because you know you weren't raised with that person, but then when you're around that person, as much as that we have been here lately in the last few years of my life, and not last few, several years of my life, I can see where I come from. It's funny, because we both have the gift of the gab. Before he was a truck driver, he was an insurance salesman, and I sold cars. I actually did a lot of things, not just sold cars, but just to, you know, we do act a lot alike, and we both enjoy each other's time, and we tell each other all the time, even when we're having, and this is so much fun, you know. And he tells me that I'm crazy all the time, and he knows that my response is, well, I know where I get it from, and I get it from both of them, a little of them both. My parents, I know a little bit of them both, but then I make my own personal, unique person, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I can't really tell you a whole bunch about his family history unless I have him write it all down and stuff for you. And maybe one of these days, actually, I'll just vlog with my dad, and I'll do a Q&A with my dad. That way, not only will I learn things, you guys can learn them right along with me, because there's several things that I don't know, and there's things that he's told me, and I've just not been able to retain the information because I wasn't raised that way, because I know so much more about my dad, my mom and dad, in our family, because we were all raised together. So like I said, I'm just learning different things and stuff. And I do remember my grandma very well. She was a shorter lady, and my daughter Taylor actually is the same height as her and everything. And I can see my daughter, I can see my grandma and my daughter too, and especially attitude-wise, and I kind of like that. Actually, Taylor and I are a lot alike, my daughter, and we do clash. She is now going to school and raising her kids, and her husband is working and stuff, and so they're really happy. But she's kind of doing everything kind of like I was doing. You know, as my kids were little, I was in college. Let's get this degree so that I can have some money and start raising these children. My husband, the kids' father, and I weren't together, and so I knew this was going to be a rough road on my own, and I knew it was going to be rough, but I didn't expect how rough it was. But boy, single parenthood is hard, but I did it, and I enjoy every second of all of the memories that I have doing that. The one thing with I do regret is that my biological father, David, wasn't involved in my children's raising. Also, I wish he would have been got to be more involved in seeing Brandon and Taylor grow up too, because they kind of missed out on a really fun guy too. And I mean, that's, you know, they're here, they're safe. My daughter and him are close. My son, he's the more standoffish one, and I blame him not. That's another thing with me too. Yeah. You either have feelings for somebody or you don't, and that's just something. It's not like he doesn't have feelings for him, but he's not close to him, so he doesn't make as much of an effort. And he has his own life and his family and stuff, and that's just how life is. But yeah, that's my biological side. It's not as small. My dad has a brother. And so I have an uncle and an aunt and then a couple of cousins. So that's a tiny, tiny, tiny family compared to what I was raised with. But I enjoy it also. It's just more to love, more to care about. And I'm going to have a lot more things to say about that subject and stuff down the road, because I'm going to kind of do more questions. And like I said, it's probably going to be a Q&A with my dad, and I'll ask questions or he'll tell me things. But like I said, they got married and they separated. My parents did right after. I mean, they weren't even married very long. I was born, and they got married and separated. They were just really young. It was just a young thing and stuff that they both did. They both never did my mom disrespect him. She didn't put him down. She never lied to me about him. I did have a picture of him in my dresser drawer that I had for the longest time. And you know, my dad never disrespected my mother either, and he has a whole lot of respect for my mom, and they both do still have love for each other. Obviously, they were like first loves or whatever. And my dad, Tim, he is not jealous of the situation. I have asked my parents for one day of just me, my real dad, and my mother to go and just have a date just together, because I think I deserve that. I don't remember that when there was a time like that, and I know there was, but I didn't get that. So we are going to plan something, and we are going to do something, and it's it's selfishly for me, and I want it, and that's what's going to happen. I finally got my mom to okay it yesterday, and I've been trying for years for this to happen. My dad is okay with it, as long as my other father is, my dad Tim is okay with it, because he also shows him respect too. So I will do more vlogs on that, and I'm going to get this one up on YouTube. Thank you for coming to my channel, Praying for Insanity. Like the video, subscribe to my page. Talk to you later. Always stay happy, and don't let anyone, no matter what, don't let anyone take your happy. Bye, guys.